All right. It was requested that there be a video made for the classwork, so that's what I'm going to do right now. Just grabbing some pens. Okay. So find the missing measures in each figure. Keep the angle relationships in mind. We see here we have this angle is 112 degrees and this angle is vertical to it. So vertical angles are congruent and x equals 112 degrees. Okay. The next one here, we've got this indicating that it's a right angle, which means that these are complementary. So they add to 90. So we want to take 90 degrees minus 68 degrees to get our 22 degrees. Just double checking. Yes. Okay. On this one, we have them forming a line. This is a linear pair. So they add to 180. 180 degrees for the total, minus 124 for the one that's given, is 56 degrees for the remaining angle. And then next up, we're looking at number 4. We've got 3 angles to find here. So X, Y, and Z. I'm going to start with Y because 43 and the Y are going to be vertical angles, so they'll be congruent. And then X and 43 are a linear pair. So 180 minus 43 to find X would give us 137. And then because X is vertical with Z, these two are equal. So 3 different angles that we needed to find, and we want to make sure anytime we have 3 things to solve for that we find all 3 of them. Getting a lot of homework with only like 1 solved for when there's 3 things to find. So next up, we've got this diagram, a little more complicated, but still manageable. Again, the 72 and the Y are vertical. I think it's just a coincidence, but it's happened twice now. And then for X, we've got this linear pair. So X and 72 should make 180. And that'll be 108. And then here, we've got that this is a right angle, so 72 and Z should add to 90. They are complementary. So all 3 are different on this one, but all still just 1-step problems. Okay, number 6. Angles 1 and 2 are vertical angles. Underline that because that's important. If the measure of angle 2 is 105, find the measure of angle 1. Whenever a picture is not provided, I like to draw one. So we're talking about some vertical angles like these. We know that one of them is 105 degrees, and vertical means congruent. So if one's 105, then the other has to be 105 too. And number 7, again, reading our question, A and B are complementary angles, so that means they add to 90. If the measurement of angle A is 42, find the measure of angle B. Again, drawing a picture can be helpful. So one of them is 42 degrees, and the pair makes a right angle. I'm going to take 90 minus 42 to find 48. Number 8, reading the question, P and Q are supplementary angles, so that means they add to 180. The measure of angle Q is 64, and we want to find the measure of angle P. Again, we can always draw a picture if we would like. So if I have 64 here, and I know they have to add to 180, 180 degrees minus 64 is 116 degrees. Right. Next one is angle 1 and 2 form a linear pair. So that means that they add to 180, just like supplementary, because a linear pair means they're adjacent and supplementary. And we can draw our picture. Okay, the measure of angle 1 is 113. And we need to find the measure of angle 2. So 180 our total minus 113 should be 67 degrees for that one. Right, so those are all ones where we don't really have to do any algebra. We're just doing some addition or subtraction. Go ahead and take a pause if you want to copy anything down that you may have missed in class. And I'm going to push on to the next part, using algebra. So number 10 says the measure of angle PQT is 3x plus 47, so that's this angle. The measure of angle SQR is 6x minus 25, and that's this one. And we want to find the measure of angle SQR. So notice how I'm reading and I'm underlining the important things about the question. Next, I want to ask myself, what relationship do these two angles have? And I see that they are opposite on some crossing lines, so they're vertical angles, which means that they are congruent. Because they're congruent, I can set up an equation where they are equal. Okay, and I'll be adding this 25 on both sides. 3x plus 72 equals 6x. Just double checking, yeah. And then I'll subtract that 3x on both sides. So 72 equals 3x. Now I can divide out that 3. X equals 24. But remember, we're finding the measure of an angle, so we're not quite done until we do that. So measure of angle SQR, we were given this expression, so 6, we'll plug in our 24 as x, minus 25, and then you can type that whole thing right into your calculator as long as you include those parentheses, and you'll get the right answer, 119 degrees. Number 11 says that if line AB is perpendicular to ray CD, so that tells us we have a right angle here and a right angle here. The measure of angle DCE is 7x plus 2, and the measure of angle ECB is x plus 8. We want to find the measure of DCE. Okay, so now we're looking at the relationship between these two angles. So a lot of people in class have been assuming that they're going to be equal, but they definitely don't look equal. And in fact, these two angles are complementary. So that means they will add to 90. So instead of setting them equal to each other, our equations should say 7x plus 2 plus x plus 8 equals 90. And then we can combine like terms. 7x and x make 8x. Plus 2 plus 8 is plus 10. So 8x plus 10 equals 90. Subtract out that 10. 8x equals 80. Divide out our 8. X equals 10. We're still not done because we have to find the measure of angle DCE. So then we're going to use the originally given expression, 7, plug in x equals 10, plus 2, and 7 times 10 is 70, plus 2 is 72 degrees. All right, the last one on the front of this page has the measure of angle KNM. KNM, that's this one, 8x minus 5. The measure of angle MNJ, so that's this one here, 4x minus 19. Right, and we have to find the measure of angle KNM. So again, we want to make sure we're paying attention to those relationships because these two are not going to be equal. Notice that this one's a lot smaller than this one, and we do see that they make a linear pair. Together they form a line. So they should add up to 180. We take our 8x minus 5 plus 4x minus 19 equal to 180. I'm going to combine some like terms. 12x minus 24 equals 180. Add 24 on both sides. 12x equals 204. Divide by 12. X equals 17. And again, we're not done until we have the measure of angle K and M. So we need to plug that in. 8 times 17 minus 5 equals 131. Right? A lot of people have been turning in the homework where they just find the value of x and then stop. But we want to make sure we're always reading the whole problem and doing what it says. Otherwise, we're not going to get it right. Okay, pause it if you need to get any of this down, and I'll flip to the back. Number 13, if the measure of angle DEG, so that's this one, is 5x minus 4. The measure of angle GEF is 7x minus 8. And the measure of angle DEH, so this one, is 9y plus 5. We have to find the values of x and y. So we do only have to find the variables here, but we do have to find both variables. So again, making sure we read the question so we know what we need to do. We won't be able to solve for the y until we know what one of these other angles is, so we'll start by solving for x. These two angles are supplementary. Linear pair, same thing. Supplementary, so they add to 180. We can set up our equation, 7x minus 8 plus 5x minus 4 equals 180. 7x plus 5x is 12x. Minus 8 and minus 4 is minus 12. Add that 12 on both sides. 12x equals 192. Gonna divide out that other 12. It's confusing when it's the same number twice. X equals 16. Okay, now that we know what x is, we can use that to help us find y, and there are two ways we can do this. One is that we can use that these are vertical angles, right? They're across from each other, so they're equal. And that's what I'm going to do because I think it'll take up less space. 9y plus 5, 7 times 16 minus 8 is just this angle that is vertical from our angle with the y. minus 8. So we get 104 equals 9y plus 5. Subtract out that 5. 99 equals 9y. Divide by the 9. And y equals 11. Right? We could also have set up the equation where this plus this equals 180. So 9y plus 5 plus 5 times 16 minus 4 equals 180, and solved that, and we should have gotten the same answer, whichever one we did. So either of those is okay. Number 14. Kind of like get everything. All right, angles R and S are complementary angles. That means that they add to 90. If the measure of angle R is 12x minus 3 and the measure of angle S is 7x minus 2, we want to find the measure of angle R. Again, we can always draw a picture if we need to. I'm going to go ahead and skip drawing the picture because the question gives me enough information that I don't need to. So R is 12x minus 3 and S is 7x minus 2. So I should be able to add those together and set it equal to 90, and that's all I need for this. 12x and 7x are 19x. Minus 3 and minus 2 makes minus 5. So then we add that 5. 19x equals 95. Divide by that 19. So x equals 5. But we're not done because we need to find the measure of angle R. So measure angle R is 12 times 5 minus 3, which will come out to 57. Okay. So pictures can be helpful, but are not always necessary. So if you like it better when you draw a picture, there's no reason why you shouldn't. But if you don't feel like you need a picture and you can still get the problem, that's fine too. Number 15, P and Q are supplementary angles. So that means they add to 180. If the measure of angle P is 4x plus 1, the measure of angle Q is 9x minus 3, we are going to find the measure of angle Q. So again, can draw a picture if you want to. Don't need to necessarily because we have all the information we need in our question. 4x plus 1, 9x minus 3, and they should add to 180. Okay, so we can combine like terms. 13x, 1 minus 3 is minus 2, so we'll add that 2 on both sides, and then divide by 13. X equals 14. Okay, and we're finding the measure of angle Q, so we're going to plug that in to our 9x minus 3. 9 times 14 minus 3 is 123 degrees. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and move it up a little. Number 16, angles 1 and 2. It's going to change the color. Form a linear pair. A linear pair. The measure of angle 2 is 6 more than twice the measure of angle 1. And the lights have just decided to turn off, so I will... There we go. Okay, so we are trying to find the measure of angle 2 in this one. So I'm going to assign angle 1 the value x. And for angle 2, it says it's 6 more than twice that. So twice means 2 times. So 2 times x. 6 more than means add 6. So if we're having a linear pair, one of our angles is x, the other is 2x plus 6. We can write x plus 2x plus 6 equals 180. And that makes 3x plus 6 equals 180. Subtract out our 6. 3x equals 174. Divide by 3. X equals 58 degrees. But we're looking for measure of angle 2. So 2 times 58 plus 6 leaves us 122. Okay. Next, we've got J and K complementary angles. The measure of angle J is 18 less than the measure of angle K. Okay, so I'm going to assign K as X, and 18 less than just means subtract 18. So X and X minus 18. And on this one, we're finding the measure of each angle, so we need both. So to start out, we're going to set up an equation where these two add together to make 90. X plus X minus 18 equals 90. We've got some like terms we can combine. 2x minus 18 is 90. Add that 18. 2x equals 108. Divide out the 2. X is 54, so measure of angle K is 54. Measure of angle J is 54 minus 18, which I'm pretty sure is 36. It is 36 degrees. Okay. So again, take a minute, pause it if you need to find or finish writing that down. And I will move on to the next one. If ray UW bisects angle TUV, okay, that tells me this angle and this angle are congruent. The measure of angle TUW is 13x minus 5. And the measure of angle WUV is 7x plus 31. We have to find the value of x. So this doesn't actually use any of the angle relationships we were learning about in our last lesson, but it does use the definition of an angle bisector, which tells us that these two angles are going to be congruent, so we can set them equal to each other. And if I add 5 on both sides, 13x equals 7x plus 36. Subtract 7x. 6x equals 36. Divide out that 6. I get x equals 6. And since we just had to find the value of x, we're all done with it. For number 19, if ray MO bisects angle PMN, okay, so this guy and this guy are congruent. PMN is 74, so that's all of this. And OMN, so that's this guy, is 2x plus 7. We want to find the value of x. Now there's 3 different ways you could set this up actually. Most people seem to be favoring, well, I know I need 2x plus 7 2 times, so I'm going to write it 2 times and set it equal to 74. If you think about, well, instead of writing it twice, I can just put 2 times. and write 2 times 2x plus 7 equals 74. These are exactly the same. And then a third way is, well, I know that this is half as much as the whole, so I can find what half of 74 is, 37, and set it up that way. And I'll show you that you'll get the same answer for all three of these. So 2x and 2x, 4x plus 7 and 7, 14. Okay, distribute. See, it goes to the same thing for the next step. And then we would subtract out our 14 on both sides. 4x equals 60, divide by 4, x equals 15. And then this one will look identical from here. But just in case you don't believe me, 74 minus 14 still equals 60. Divide by 4, x still equals 15, right? And then this one, you would then subtract your 7. 2x equals 30. Divide by 2, x equals 15 on all of them. So we got 3 different equations we could have set up, but they all give the right answer. And as long as you're setting up something that makes sense and gets you the right answer, you're good. And last but not least, we're going to look at this one, number 20. If ray EF bisects angle CEB, okay, so that's this guy. Measure of angle CEF is 7x plus 21. Measure of angle FEB is 10x minus 3. And we are trying to find the measure of DEB, this little guy that's unknown. So this will use both the definition of our angle bisector, and it'll use the fact that the 3 angles together form a line. So we can start by setting these guys equal because they're equal angles. Okay, I'll subtract out the 7x on both sides. 21 equals 3x minus 3. Add 3, 24 equals 3x. Divide by 3, x equals 8. Now to find out what our goal is, DEB, we can plug that 8 into one or both of these. If you plug it into one, just plug it in and then double it. If you plug it into both, plug it in and then add them together. So 7 times 8 plus 21 plus 10x minus 3. Oops, that should say 8, not x. And then plus, I'll call this question mark so we see what I'm looking at. Right? So I've got this angle, 7 times x plus 21, knowing that x is 8, plus this angle, 10 times 8 minus 3, plus this angle, question mark, equals 180. So they all together make a line, all together make a line. All right, then I just have to do some simplifying in here. 7 times 8 is 56. 21, 10 times 8 is 80. Okay, now we've got some like terms we can combine. All those together, 56 plus 21 plus 80 minus 3. 154 plus question mark equals 180. Subtract out 154. Question mark equals 180 minus 154. 26 degrees. And we could have done that in more steps, but did not have to. And that is the end of this worksheet. So hopefully, if you didn't get it all down in class, you'll be able to finish it up from this video.